All right, you guys, well, today I have for you this 2015 Mercedes-Benz S550. We'll go around the car here, take it on a little test drive. As you can see, really nice styling with this S-Class Mercedes. I love the hood ornament you get. And it's kind of funny, they for the radar system, they made it kind of look like the grille. I don't know if I like that too much. I think they could have found a better spot for that. But we'll keep going on the back here. Does have these sportier, kind of low profile tires to it. We'll try popping the trunk and show you what the cargo space is like. And it is a power operated trunk, which is pretty interesting. As you can see, it's actually not the biggest trunk. It's decent, but I was expecting this thing to be a little bit bigger in here. But you do get a big storage area under the floor. Does not look like you get a spare tire though, which is kind of unusual for such an expensive vehicle. You'd think they'd throw in a little spare tire for you there. But we'll close this trunk right here. And it is a pretty cool feature though. Not completely necessary on a sedan, I feel, but still pretty nice regardless. This is the key for it, by the way. It's just like a typical Mercedes key from this time. But we'll check out these back seats. All right. And very roomy, as you would expect. Lots of leg room, lots of foot space. Very comfortable seats back here as well. You do have power shades for the windows back here, which you can control with the window switches. You do get these cup holders with this interesting center console storage area. Nothing else too interesting back here. You do get a little plug-in outlet, but that's about it. I'll show you guys the engine really quick. All right, so this is it. This is the 4.7 liter twin turbo V8 engine. It makes 449 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. Very powerful numbers. It's a big engine and definitely an upscale kind of car, so you'd expect it to make big power. It is paired to a 7-speed automatic, but that's about all there is to go over. We'll close up the hood here. All right, let's hop in. We will start it up. All right. Okay, so this interior is pretty nice, as you would expect for an S-Class. It's not as nice as the brand new one, I will say. Some of these screens and everything, this is kind of like the older generation of Mercedes. These days they have a little bit better technology, a little bit better screens. But this car is still really nice, especially for the time. You get this nice panoramic sunroof. The seats look really good, all the wood finishes. It's all very nicely done. This center screen isn't a touch screen. You mainly control it with this little scroll wheel. And this actually has a cool sort of Mercedes design on it. I'm not sure what it means, but it looks very cool, like kind of like a coin or something. But you use this little scroll wheel to control the screen, and it doesn't do a whole lot of things. Like right now, you can just cycle through your radio, or you can go up, you can go over to vehicle, and this is where you can adjust all your vehicle settings. It's not the most intuitive to use. I think I would prefer a touch screen. But if we go into vehicle settings, this is where we can adjust like our ambient lighting. And for the ambient lighting, you can change between a few different colors like red, purple, blue, etc. But I think the red looks the best. You can set your trunk opening height. You also have your media settings for, say, Bluetooth. You have your radio. And you also have a nav system in here, which is decent for the time period. You can also use this like touchpad thing to kind of control it like a mouse or something like that. This isn't the most intuitive either. It's a little bit distracting. It kind of reminds me of like Lexus with that scroll wheel thing, but at least this is like a slightly better integration. You can press down on it if you want to go somewhere, kind of like that. We can also press this button and go into our seat settings. So let's do that now. You can check out your massage, which is pretty interesting. So this is where you set the intensity of the massage, and then you can just hit start. In this particular S-Class, I can't get the massage to work. I hit start and nothing happens. So unfortunately, I can't really speak to the massage feature. I can't get it to work. You can change the seat heating balance, like where the seat gets heated. This dynamic multi-contour seat feature, what this does is the sides of the seats kind of like are set to inflate if you go around a corner. So the idea is like it keeps you in place. It's kind of interesting. A lot of like sort of like interesting high-tech features in here. I do find that with this interior, some of the features are a bit complicated. Everything seems to require like 2 extra steps compared to, say, like a more normal car. These climate controls are a bit annoying. You get most of your buttons down here, but if you want to change where the air comes out, for example, you have to go into a menu. So you have to push menu and it lags a little bit. And then you have to go into air distribution, hit select, and then you change from this dial where the air comes out. So what could just be a single button ends up being like this 3-step process. So it's not the best when you're trying to drive and want to change something like that. You do get these interesting vents, though. To my surprise, a lot of things in here feel kind of plasticky. Some things kind of look like they're metal, like those locks and stuff, but they're actually plastic. And so are these vents. They look pretty good, but material quality isn't something you'd get in, say, some ultra high-end car like a Rolls-Royce or something. It's still kind of a mainstream car, has kind of mainstream materials in it, though it looks really good, I think. Down here you do get a few different drive settings. So this S and E button stands for sport and economy. This changes like the transmission and throttle response mainly. And then you also have a suspension button, sport or comfort. This changes like the suspension, how soft it is, how sporty it handles. And this car does have air suspension. So when I put it in comfort, you can hear that air pump doing something, adjusting. So that is pretty interesting. And you can also raise the car with this button. If you press it, it'll raise up like an inch. It doesn't raise up crazy far or anything, but still, that's kind of cool. You also get your volume controls and your auto start stop off. You also get your center console. It's a pretty big size, and you do get 2 USB ports, and you also get a car charger outlet in this pop out tray right here. You do get your glove box, which is a decent size. In here is where you put the perfume to make the car smell better. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't have any in right now, but it smells like kind of like a high-class hotel or something in here. You do get this really nice steering wheel. It's like leather and wood trim. You can control the center screen with these arrows. Shows mostly just typical stuff like your MPG, your speed, your trip readings, that sort of thing. Nothing too crazy. You can look at your navigation through the center screen. You can check out your radio, kind of control what station you're on, but that's about it. We'll just go back up here to trip and just leave it on the original screen. You do get your shifter for the 7-speed automatic, push up for reverse, and you do get decent cameras. You get like a top-down view and a backup camera. I do think the size of the cameras could be bigger on the screen. Pretty small backup cameras, but the resolution is decent. Push down for drive and push on the end for park. You do get your wiper controls, also your telescoping steering wheel control right here. Over here is where you turn on your heated or cooled seats, and you can have them on at the same time. Seat controls are right here. It's kind of like a typical Mercedes thing. And you can also control the passenger seat if I press this button, and right now I can control the passenger seat. That's kind of interesting. You get this nice Burmeister sound system, which also sounds pretty good, pretty clear, good bass to it. So I think we'll get this thing out on the road. I'll put it in sport for right now, and we'll try comfort mode later on, but just gonna cut the wheel all the way. All right, and we're off. As you would expect for an S-Class, it's got a very smooth ride to it. Really smooth, definitely better than your ordinary like mainstream car. I can definitely see what people mean when they say this car is really smooth, because it is. It's like it's a different kind of ride than what you get in most cars. You can tell they definitely put in some extra engineering to make it ride really smooth. But I also like this ride quality because it's not like floaty or wafty when you go over bumps. It's all very settled and very controlled, despite being nice and comfortable. It glides right over bumps, and it feels really good, to be honest. But you're not making any sacrifices for that. It doesn't like handle badly at all. It's still a pretty sporty and pretty sharp vehicle to drive. This V8 turbo is really good. Really punchy engine. Like crazy acceleration just like that. I mean, lots of torque in any gear, any situation. Power stays really consistent throughout the whole rev range. It sounds really good. It's nice and muted in the interior, but that engine, what you do hear of it is really nice. Nice and powerful sounding engine in this car. And yeah, it just takes off. It's like silky smooth power as well. Very smooth, very linear power. I really like it a lot. One thing that is a slight misstep for me is this throttle response. It's not very sharp. It's a little bit delayed for my liking. I think they did that to give this car like a smoother and more luxurious feel to it, but when you first step on the gas, like nothing really happens initially. You kind of have to like give it a little shove to get moving. When I first drove this car, I actually thought the parking brake was on at first. But that's just the way this gas pedal is. It's just not very... It is like pretty linear, pretty intuitive, but initially it takes a good shove to get moving. You got this really long front hood in front of you. It feels like a big car when you drive it. It's a little bit intimidating because it's also a very expensive car. Like, you don't want to crash it or anything, but it is very big front hood up here, though that hood ornament is really nice to look over. You get good visibility out the sides and out the back. One slight issue is I noticed this rear view mirror is a lot more like inset in the interior, so it's not really lined up very well with your periphery. You really kind of have to like look at it if you want to check it. Some other cars position the mirror in like a better spot, but that's only like a little nitpicky thing. I don't think most people are going to notice that. As for the steering, you know, there's not much to talk about with the steering. It's kind of like the least interesting part of this driving experience. It is like a very big luxury sedan, so you don't expect it to have like crazy sporty steering or anything like that. But that said, you know, the steering is nicely tuned. It feels like connected to the road. It doesn't have like crazy feedback or anything. It doesn't do anything really special, but it is like nice and connected with the car for a vehicle of this size, it feels pretty good. It's nice and linear. It responds always how you'd expect it to. These brakes have a nice natural feel to them. They have like a normal bite point. They're very easy to control. They're not super touchy or super sporty. The brake pedal is a little bit on the mushy side, in my opinion, but they're still very easy. They're pretty powerful, pretty smooth. So definitely like the brakes in this car. And the 7-speed automatic is nice and smooth. Very smooth, very intuitive, always picks the right gear. It's very responsive if you put your foot down and need some extra power. It kicks on like right away. Really smooth shifts. It's a nice like sporty transmission, although it also kind of just works in the background. You don't really notice it too much, which is kind of the goal. I like this car's blend of sportiness, but also like comfort. It takes corners really well. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. We'll try some more corners up ahead, but yeah, really good blend of comfort and sport in here. The road noise is nice and quiet in here. Definitely quieter than your average car, although I think there is like some kind of broken seal somewhere, because I am getting some wind noise in here. But step on the gas a little bit, this V8 just like roars up the speed. Take some corners here, very sharp. It is still a big sedan. It doesn't feel like totally flat in the corners, obviously. You're still driving a very big vehicle. But it's definitely better than your average full-size luxury sedan. We'll try this other corner, see how it does. And yeah, it really hugs the turn, better than you would expect. Steering is nice and precise through the corner, nice and smooth. Yeah, it's actually pretty fun to drive. That V8 just like always has so much power. It's not gonna be like a sports car, like a Corvette or something. It still is like a bit wafty in the corners, but it still hugs the road really well at the same time. Yeah, it does a good job around turns. I think we'll try comfort mode and see what that's like. Air suspension kind of does its thing. Alright, in comfort mode, I definitely notice a difference. Going over that intersection, car definitely felt a little bit bouncier. I think the steering gets maybe a little bit lighter. Definitely tell the steering is lighter for sure. Yeah, comfort mode is actually really nice. In sport mode, you can still kind of feel bumps a little bit. Not a crazy amount, but if you go over a bump, you can kind of feel it a little bit. Comfort mode really isolates you from that. You mostly just like hear the bumps in comfort mode, but you don't really feel them that much. It still feels pretty sharp though, going around corners, even in comfort mode. But I do prefer sport mode, I think. I don't know if I mentioned, but this car was $97,000 when it was new. So pretty expensive car. And it doesn't really get much attention, really. I think people kind of look at this car and just think, you know, oh, it's just another Mercedes. But I guess that's kind of the point. Like, you don't buy this car to like show off, really. Although maybe you kind of do buy it to show off, but it's not like some crazy look at me kind of car. It still kind of blends in with traffic. Get this thing on the highway here. Yeah, very sharp cornering. All right. Like a roller coaster. That is just crazy. Shoves you in the back of your seat, like no problem. Try making some passing power. Goes around these curves with ease. A little bit floaty, of course, but not bad, honestly. No, we'll get back on the highway, going the other way. It gets a little squirrely if you hit the gas too suddenly, but just like, wow, that is crazy power. And really nice highway ride, as you would expect. Car is very easy to control at high speed. Just like a nice controlled setup here. Give it some speed. It can handle speed, no problem. We'll take this exit here, try out the handling once again. And yeah, really good, actually. It has its limit, but it also just feels so assured and so confident around the corner. Alright, you guys, well, I think I'll end the video in here, in this little neighborhood. 2015 Mercedes-Benz S550. Really liked it a lot. I thought this car was gonna feel pretty floaty and like clumsy in the handling. I really didn't think I was gonna enjoy it that much, but to be honest, it's really fun to drive. It has a lot of power to it, a lot of smooth linear power, really like grounded, sort of like bank vault handling to it, which I really like. Silky smooth ride, really nice blend of comfort and sport. This interior doesn't totally do it for me. I like how it looks, but some of the materials in here are a little bit cheap feeling for an S-Class, and the screens aren't the best. They're a little bit non-intuitive. Maybe this was nicer back in 2015, but I love the driving experience of this car. I love the engine. I love the styling of it. It looks really good. Even though it is a really nice car, it still exceeded my expectations. I wasn't expecting it to be as sporty as it is, or as fast as it is. But yeah, that about sums up the Mercedes S-Class. We will shut it off and we'll hop out. All right, thanks for watching.